Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to share about Next.js App Router in just 4 minutes. So don't skip this video, just keep watching. Yeah. So before jump into the app router, we need to understand the problem with page router. I think if you are working with Next.js, you are already aware of the page route, like the page-based page router concept, which was actually in Next.js earlier version. What is the problem with page router actually? So page router was great, there is no doubt, but it's actually have like the limited, like there are many limitation on page router. So on page router, actually, it's client side by default. So it's really heavy bundles and which can like slow down your page navigation. And also the another problem is like the data fetching was confusing, like it's sometimes like it's faced by get server side props, get static props, get initial props, so it's really confusing. And another problem is like there is no nested layouts. I mean, if you would like to share the layout design or styling with across multiple pages, it's actually your multiple road. Actually, it's not possible in page router concept. And also there is no streaming support as well. So what is like the mental model in app router actually? So it's actually a combination of server plus client, so equal it's hybrid. So it's not only the client base by default, it's actually the combination of server plus client. And so components actually decide where they run. Well, so what app router is, it's actually a file-based routing. So how it looks like, it will looks like this. So there is a there is a app folder in root. So this is not the root actually. So this is the start point of the root. Like in your app route, in your app folder, if you define any folder, I mean, if I define about folder, it's actually going to be the about root. If I define, if I create a blog folder, it will actually redirect to the slash blog root. And there is a slack. So slack actually, it's a id. I mean, you know that if you have a blog list, then if you click on a list, it actually redirect you to a details page. So the details page should fetch the data from that blog id, right? So that id actually replaced by the slack, okay. And that actually it will look like this. I mean, this route will be look like this, like slash blog slash id. So slack actually the blog id. So this is actually the file based routing, right? It's very like it's pretty amazing. So, to make a folder, I mean, you just create a block folder and it just create a root. But to make it works, you need to define like there is a structure of a root. So it actually like when you create a block root, you need to define these five files. So this is the generic structure for every root folder. Okay, so what those five files does, so the common like the main part is like the page.tsx, which actually the root UI. If you don't have any page.tsx, it actually like this root this doesn't work. So you must define page.tsx. And also, if you would like to, that I earlier said that the problem with page router, there is no way to share your css styling across multiple navigated pages. So that is possible here. I mean, that is possible here in special files like which is layout.tsx, which is actually the shared wrapper. And also there is a loading.tsx, which is actually the loading state. So what is the what is the benefits of this file to define it? Actually, like when you try to navigate from one page to another, then there is a little bit transition moment, right? So that transition moment, you can just show a loader for the user so that they can feel that navigation from one page to another, it will be smooth. So that's the reason why you can define this loading.tsx. And then the fourth file is like the error.tsx. So it's actually the automated error boundary. I mean, if any error occurred, it can be like the server is down, you can't able to fetch the data, and you are not properly handling the like the null data, and your page eventually crashed. And then what happened? Like it actually fall back to this error.tsx file. And also there is another file you need to define, which is not found.tsx. Like let's say I only define these two root. I mean, one is about and one is block. But now let's consider if I wrote like slash list. Actually, this list root doesn't exist in this app folder. So what it will show? It will show this not found component. Well, so now if we would like to see the whole layouts and templates, you can see the app layout.tsx. Like in your root folder, you should have a layout.tsx file, and this layout actually wrap the child pages. So here you can see it wrapped the blog layout, and also this is the root layout, which is in a different color. So it means this styling actually shared across the child wrote. And you can see there is another layout for the dashboard, and that is green. So inside the root layout, you can also group it across sub layout as well. So the sub layout only applied on this particular children tree. So this is actually pretty amazing. Like you can control everything. So here you can see like layout actually persists across navigation, and templates when you navigate to another page, actually the templates will rerun, remount, and every navigation. Well, and as I already described about the loading.tsx and also the error.tsx, so you need to define the error.tsx file like this. You need to use client function error, and so this is very interesting. You need to define error.tsx a client component. So how you can sure this is a client component? You need to make this a client. By default, everything is server component, but if you define use client at top, then it will actually force to be a client component. And also if you don't define it, and if you place this inside a client component, then it will automatically be a client component. Like I mean, if you like if the parent component is client, then the child component will be automatically be the client. So you don't need to explicitly define in that case use client. So that is another concept. I'll share it in another video. Well, and on the page.tsx file, what you can do, you can do the data fetching. So instead of fetching the data in client, you can fetch the data in server. So what is the benefit of it? You can when user navigate to the page, the data is already ready because the data already prepared from the server. And when user trying to view the page, it just get the ready-made data that is already cooked. So it's really like improve the user performance. But instead of doing this, if you fetch the data in client, then user needs to wait for the food. So yeah, so that is actually the pretty amazing thing in fetching data in the server component. So if I put the summary, like the route is like the file based and it's the server first. I mean, components run on server by default first. Then the server actually provide the layout to the client, and client will render the layout. And it's a nested layout shared UI that persists, and think server renders and use client to interact. Yeah, and so that's all for today. And if you can just start create the next app using this command. And yeah, and if you have any comments, then please drop your comments, drop your questions on the comments section, and please like and subscribe for more quick tutorials.